Final score betwixt the hedges, Georgia 43, Ole Miss 35, in a pack-a-lunch kind of game, man. I think there's a lot to take from both sides of this. But Georgia, once again, finding a way to get it done on the offensive side of the ball. We'll break it all down right now. Takeaways for Georgia, takeaways for Ole Miss, the outlook for both teams going forward here. But if you have not yet subscribed, you're a Georgia fan or an Ole Miss fan, this is the Hard Count presented by BetMGM. It's college football year-round. We're reacting to games. We're talking games throughout the week. We're talking ball all season long, all offseason long. The bottom line, if you love college football with every fiber of your existence, go ahead, hit that subscribe button for us. Helps us to get the show to more people. Helps you make sure you don't miss the show at all. So thank you in advance for doing that. Immediate thoughts after that game ended was like, man, I don't know what to do with Georgia. I don't, because there's one part of me where it's like, man, that defense is a lot of hey, that wasn't very chill vibes coming out of that one for me. Like, I would love to see us start quicker. I would love to see us be better overall on the defensive side of the ball. I would love to see us not get torched in the first and third quarter. Like, I would love to see more consistency on the defensive side. We'll talk about that in a second. But I let all that settle, and we come in here on a Sunday morning in our studio here in Nashville, and I kind of love that the offense has been able to answer the call. Not just once, but twice. Because if you looked at the Tennessee game and saw Georgia's offensive output, you'd say, good for Georgia. However, Tennessee's defense isn't very good. Got problems on that side of the ball. Allowing 277 through the air a game is Tennessee. And you'd be right. But then you fast forward the tape and look at this game where Georgia once again starts slow on the defensive side of the ball. And the offense answers the call for the second time against that outfit, against that play caller in Lane Kiffin. At this point in the season now where you're a little bit more, I have to imagine, mentally fatigued, a little bit more physically fatigued, and still to have your quarterback go for 5 touchdowns, to have your run game go for over 200 yards in the ground, to have Lawson Lucky snagging on folks, getting a hat trick for you. Like, to see Georgia answer the call to action on the offensive side for the second time, to me, that verifies this is a play style Georgia can have now going forward. Now, do you want to live this way where you're getting into shootouts? I'd have to imagine with Kirby Smart being the defensive guy that he is, the answer is emphatically no. Glenn Schumann probably echoing that sentiment. But to know that you have this driver in the bag means a lot. It means a lot, especially with what modern college football is, where, quite frankly, it might be a situation where it's your quarterback versus their quarterback when you get into the college football playoff. Because these rosters now, that talent playing field, Kirby Smart said it, man. He said it essentially in a different way, but I'm going to paraphrase. The margins for the Georgias of the world now has shrunk tremendously with the portal, with NIL, with the way that the depth is in modern college football. You're not going to be 3 deep on the defensive line like maybe you used to be a couple of years ago. You're not. And so maybe you have a better roster, a lot of different Saturdays, a lot of different college football playoff games, but what's the margins there? They're a lot thinner than before. So when that's the case now, I look at who touches the football every single snap. Gunnar Stockton has proven now he's good enough to get you to where you want to go. Georgia, in general, I think, has kind of, they're kind of like that one friend that you have that doesn't totally process social cues correctly. Like, you're in a quiet room and they're not whispering. They're just speaking at a normal volume. You're like, dude, do you not understand where we are? Like, hush, quiet down a little bit here. Or they have just like insane eye contact. And you're like, dude, I appreciate the eye contact. That's good. I appreciate the confidence. But like, you don't need to look into the windows of my soul so intently. We're talking about our lunch plans right now. Georgia doesn't care to make you uncomfortable. Georgia doesn't care that you're sitting there in the first half or in the second half, rather, down by 9. And we're all just like, is Georgia, are they going to eventually pull the nose up here a little bit? Like, Georgia doesn't care. And the thing is, that one friend that doesn't understand social cues, doesn't process social cues correctly, guess what? They're not uncomfortable. They're not sitting there squirming because they've held eye contact with you for so long, or because people are looking at them funny in the library when they're speaking above the average volume a person should speak at in a library. They don't care. They don't care because they're confident in themselves. This is their swagger. This is their attitude. And honestly, too, they're kind of built for this. And I'm not so much speaking to what they are as a roster. I'm speaking to what they are upstairs. Like, we keep going back to this. Traits matter in college football. They're tough to quantify. They're tough to assign a number to when it comes to the stat sheet. But Georgia very clearly is one of the most traitsy teams in college football by nature of how we've seen them respond to adversity, respond to a deficit now time and time again. Get down 21-7 against Tennessee in the first half, doesn't matter. Get down by multiple scores against Auburn in the first half, doesn't matter. Go back and win the football game. Can't get a stop to save your life in the first half against Ole Miss, doesn't matter. Down 9 in the second half, doesn't matter. That's just who Georgia is right now. That's who Georgia is. And I think when you look at what they are offensively with Gunnar Stockton, going back to him, it's very tough for me to sit here and not compare where Georgia is offensively right now to where they were last year. And I think it just goes to show, like, nicer isn't always better. Like, for me personally, I don't own a pair of Jordans that I wear out and about. And it's a nice shoe. It's an expensive shoe. A lot of people like to wear Jordans. Good for them. It would look a little bit silly on me. I don't know why, if it's the size of my feet. I don't know if it's the other clothes that I wear. It would look ridiculous on me. It's a nicer shoe. It's not better for me. Carson Beck, overall, a nicer overall like draft prospect probably. He's got the cannon for an arm. He's got the more like NFL-style build. He's probably going to have, I would have to imagine, a better draft grade coming out whenever you compare him to Gunnar Stockton. But nicer isn't better for what Georgia is. Gunnar Stockton and his mentality, Gunnar Stockton with his legs, Gunnar Stockton with his competitive character, all those things, not knocking Carson Beck, it just fits Georgia's identity much better. And you saw that in that game yesterday. When he responded, I mean, Kirby Smart highlighted it a couple times, but the play where they have a player for the tight end, for the dive player as well, and they have a player assigned for Gunnar Stockton when he pulls it and he makes a miss and goes yard, like that is something that Carson Beck isn't doing. It's what Georgia, quite frankly, in this situation yesterday, needed. It was a big reason why they won the football game. So going back to the defense now, it's not cute to start slow. Like, I think we all have those friends that like kind of have different quirks that are just sort of annoying, and you're like, no, that's not a cute quirk you have, that you're 45 minutes late to everything. That's kind of dangerous. Like, it's not a good thing. It's not cute to start slow. It's kind of viewed through the prism now of a win, which makes it a lot more fun to talk about the day after. You're like, oh man, Georgia once again starting slow. That's us. Georgia 45 minutes late. That's us. Yeah, I hear that, but like at a certain point in time, if that doesn't get corrected, that'll get you beat. It will get you beat. It hasn't yet, but it will get you beat. I guess you could say it did against Alabama, but it should have gotten you beat against Ole Miss. It didn't. Should have gotten you beat against Auburn. It didn't. So you responded. And I want to be careful how I say this. I'm not trying to be down on Georgia's defense. I think it's fair to be down on Georgia's defense. I mean, after a win, you can only be so down on a football team. But I think going back to the traits part of this, teams that win stuff are timely. Georgia's timely. Like, do they need to be better going forward to get to where they want to go? We already established that. Yeah. But with that guy calling the defense as Glenn Schumann, with that guy being the head coach, Kirby Smart, I think they're going to eventually get that corrected. I think they'll play better football in November and when it matters in December and January. But even if they don't, being timely and having that card with the offense has proven it's good enough. So we always say about Georgia defensively and how bad it was and all that. It's like you still beat a top 5 team. You covered the spread, and your offense scored 43. First world problems. So Georgia, yeah, the secret ingredient, it's their traits. It's Bloody Tuesday. It's them never being uncomfortable when everyone else is uncomfortable. And in a world in modern college football where you got to go win 3-4 games in a row to win a national title, I like those traits. I like those traits a lot. Now for Ole Miss, it sounds bizarre to say out loud, but I was telling Cato before we got filming here, I kind of have a similar feeling about Ole Miss after this loss to Georgia as I had about Tennessee after they lost to Georgia. Like, I'm not thinking anything less really of Ole Miss because they lost. I'm actually thinking more of them. And my thing is, they went into that game and did not flinch. Like, defense, it was what it was, man. You allowed 200 yards rushing on the ground. Not good. You allowed 43 points. Not good. But to see Trinidad Chambliss step into that spot and not flinch at all, to use Herb Street's term, flatline, essentially. The pulse was just steady as can be. It tells me a lot about the way that guy's wired. And that was my question really throughout this week was, hey, looked a little bit, as a team really, immature is the wrong way to use it, but it's the word that comes to mind with how you handled Washington State looking ahead to Georgia. How are you going to handle going on the road as a football team? How are you going to handle going on the road to that place in let's call a spade here, sort of a must-win spot for both teams? Definitely must win for Georgia already having a loss on the schedule, to Alabama. How are you going to handle that situation when you played D2 a year ago? Trinidad Shambles didn't care. And so if you're not going to flinch in that spot against that football team, I don't have any reason to believe you're going to flinch in any of these games here left on the resume, or left on the schedule, to build your resume, rather. Speaking of resumes, if you were going to draft a game planner for one game in all of college football, I think Lane Kiffin is, if he's not the number one pick, he's probably a top 3 pick. For me, at least. He very clearly had Georgia in a blender. They were able to play their game. They got the ball out quick. They knew where they wanted to attack different parts of the defense. We said that going in. Hey, listen, I understand there's a couple of first-round picks, not on this football team, most notably at quarterback from what you had a year ago when you won this game, but Lane Kiffin knows how to attack this defense. He did that at a really, really high level. And so if this is your toughest test on your schedule with what you have ahead of you, Ole Miss could very easily be a college football playoff team. But what it's going to come down to, we said it once, we'll say it again, it's about the culture for them. It's about resetting, which is funny because that's something that I think you almost discount when you talk about Ole Miss because of all their portal players, because of how many different guys they go and get every year and the roster looks new. Hey, does culture really matter when you live through the portal? It's going to. It's going to. Can you reset after a loss like this where you played good football but it wasn't enough? Can you reset and then go on the road and play Oklahoma still at this level offensively? And then can you carry that over to the Florida game, to the Mississippi State game? Because there's not, again, I don't think there's a tougher test for Ole Miss from a roster talent perspective left on their schedule. 10-2 Ole Miss is getting in the dance. Now, I understand that was their first loss, but 10-2 Ole Miss, if they lose one more of those, and that's it, they're getting in. They're getting in. But that will be determined by if they're able to reset, handle this loss properly, not read the press clippings, not read the tweets about how good they were in a loss, and go play their best ball when it matters, which is what this whole thing is about here in the month of October in college football and moving in to the put up or shut up time that is November in college football. But let me know your thoughts on this. Ole Miss fans, Georgia fans, we appreciate y'all rocking with us. Make sure, again, you are subscribed to the channel. Caden Smith on the ones, the twos, of everything you see here. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We will keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.